Hola amigos, hoy vamos a hablar acerca de el imperativo. El imperativo is the command form in Spanish. El imperativo, the imperative. So let's have a look. El imperativo are commands. Commands can be divided into 4 categories. Today we're just going to talk about these two, the regular positive commands and the irregular positive commands. There are also regular and irregular negative commands, but I'll save that one for another time. So what is a command? A command is when you tell someone what to do. Therefore, the third person subjects, él, ella, ellos, ellas, he, she, they, are excluded from the imperative. The yo form is also excluded. In other words, you can only command people who you are directly talking to. The yo form is excluded because if you want to command yourself, like if you talk to yourself, you would probably do it in the to form. All right, so these are the subject pronouns. In the command form, we're going to leave the yo form x'd out, and we're only going to use the to form, because I can command you, to, or usted, that's the formal you. In English, there is no formal you anymore. It used to be you, and the informal was thee and thou, believe it or not, that's Old English. And then it slowly phased out to just you. In Spanish, we still have a formal, and that is usted. Nosotros, we can command in the nosotros form, and also vosotros, which is still used in Spain, slowly being replaced by ustedes everywhere else. All right, so this is how we conjugate all of the different commands in Spanish. If it's the to form and the verb is an AR verb, then the ending turns into an A. If it's an ER or an IR verb, it turns into an E. In the usted form, it does just the opposite. If it's an AR verb, it goes to an E. If it's an ER or an IR verb, it goes to an A. Same thing with nosotros. AR goes to hemos, ERIR goes to amos. And also with ustedes, AR goes to en, and ERIR goes to an. And so the letter switches for pretty much all of these. See, the letter switches for these ones, the letter is just switching. For these ones, the letter is switching. And also for these ones, the letter is switching. For these ones, the letter does not switch. AR goes to A, ERIR goes to E. In the vosotros form, the letter does not switch. And plus, even the IR has its own ID. Now, you do have to remember that there's a D there, and that's for written Spanish. I understand that colloquially in Spain, you can also just leave it AR, ERIR. But if I were taking a test, I would be sure to put a D there, like hablad, speak, or habla, speak, or hable, speak, or hablemos, let's speak, or hablen, speak. All right, so we have irregular positive commands. So these can be subcategorized into 2 different sections: irregular positive to commands, and then you have irregular positive commands with the subjects other than to. Let me get rid of these circles here. So in the to form, you just have to remember these. Ser and poner, tener, salir, venir, ir, decir, hacer. These are all irregular to commands. If they're not irregular, which is like 99.9% of verbs, you'll just use these right here. But if it's irregular, well, then we have to remember these. So even though this is a very small percentage of verbs, these verbs happen to be some of the ones that we use most frequently. So like ser means to be. We use that all the time. So sé, an example would be like sé amable or be nice. Poner turns into pon. Pon las llaves sobre la mesa. Put the keys on the table. Tener turns into ten. ¿Quieres el dinero? Tenlo. Want the money? Take it. Salir. Sal de mi cuarto. Get out of my room. Venir. Ven. Ven aquí. Come here. Ir. Ve. Ve allá. Go over there. Decir. Di. Di la verdad. Tell the truth. Hacer. Haz. Haz tus tareas. Do your homework. All right, so over here we have irregular positive commands with subjects other than to. So these ones are all with to. Other ones, most irregular positive commands follow the irregular yo form of the verb. And so there are a lot of irregular yo verbs that we've learned. These are the most common ones. So salir in the yo form is salgo. Venir is vengo, etc. Right? And so you'll notice that it just gets an A at the end. So salgo turns into salga. And so if you're talking like in the usted form, for example, you could say salga de mi cuarto was the example here. Salir, salir, sal de mi cuarto. Get out of my room. So it would be salga de mi cuarto. If it's the ustedes form, it'll be salgan. If it's the nosotros form, it'll be salgamos. Let's get out of the room. Salgamos de mi cuarto. Let's get out of my room. Salgamos de mi cuarto. By the way, the command form's kind of rude. So there is a time to use it, but just because you learn it doesn't mean you should go around using it all the time. All right, and then so these ones don't exactly follow the yo form. So voy turns into vaya. It's kind of similar, but not quite. Doy turns into de, and it has an accent mark above it to distinguish it from de, the preposition de, which means of or from, depending on how you use it. And then estoy, esté, and soy, sea, sea. And so you could say like sea amable, that means be nice in the usted form. Or you could say sean amables, sean, if there's an N, then that would be the ustedes form, sean amables. All right, so here's some examples. Un ejemplo from La Secu. So they come up and they're gonna trick him into uninviting Clara from going to the dance with him, and he doesn't realize it, but they're gonna record him saying it, and he just gets tricked. But anyway, they say, oye, Ángel, ¿qué crees? Necesitamos de tu asesoría técnica respecto al baile de bienvenida. Hey, Angel. Angel is a common name in Spanish. Ángel. What do you think? We need your technical advice regarding the welcome dance. So el baile de bienvenida is the welcome dance. Asesoría técnica means like technical advice. They need technical advice, but really it's just a trick. But he says, vengan, chicas. That is an ustedes command. Vengan, chicas. Pregúntenme. Ask me. Pregúntenme. Lo que no sé lo invento. So that means, come girls, ask me. What I don't know, I invent. And so he's kind of a smooth talker. Lo que no sé lo invento. But this type of language is common in Spanish. It's kind of like entertaining. Lo que no sé lo invento. But vengan, chicas, that's a command, a positive command. And then pregúntenme. Well, preguntar is a regular AR verb. So since it's in the command form, a positive command, and it's ustedes, it has to turn into an en, pregunten. And the me is attached. Extra pronouns are always attached to the end of positive commands in Spanish. And so that brings us to our next slide. Added pronouns with positive commands. So if you have positive commands with added pronouns, they're going to be attached to the end. So, for example, callar means to quiet. It's often callarse is a reflexive verb. So there's a reflexive pronoun there. If you're telling somebody to shut up, it would be cállate, a common command. Although it's not a very nice one. So don't go around saying cállate. Now practice with me. Cállate. Can you guys say cállate? Cállate. Good. Now don't say that ever again. All right. And then siéntense. This one is an ustedes command. It's obvious that it's ustedes because sentar is an AR verb, and this has an EN. If you go back over here, go down to the ustedes, AR verbs turn into EN. And so you know it's an ustedes positive command. Siéntense, sit down. Dímelo, tell it to me. It's kind of like saying, tell me it. Tell me it. Dímelo, tell it to me. Dímelo, dímelo. It's di because decir is one of the irregular ones. So it's a to command. It's an irregular to command. Decir, right here, turns into di. Di la verdad. Tell the truth. Di la verdad. Dímelo. Dímelo. They're all attached to the end. And you have to put an accent mark right here to make sure that the emphasis in the pronunciation stays on the third to last syllable. Dímelo. Tell it to me. In phonetics, you always count the syllables from the end of the word. So this is the last syllable, second to last syllable, and the third to last syllable. So this is la última sílaba, la penúltima y antepenúltima sílaba. Dímelo, tell it to me. Démoselo. This would be an example of an esdrújula. Démoselo. Let's give it to him. Démoselo. And so dar is the verb. Dar means to give. But since it's in the nosotros, it's an AR verb, it goes to hemos. Hemos. Damos means we give. Demos means let's give. Let's give. So we say, démoselo. Note, you can't have démoslo because there is no le-lo in Spanish. The reason why there's no le-lo in Spanish is because le is an indirect object pronoun in the third person, and lo is a direct object pronoun in the third person. Whenever you have le, lo in Spanish, the le has to turn into se. Therefore, it's demos se lo, demoselo. And the S from demos and the S from se converge into one S. Una sola S. Demoselo. Let's give it to him. It's like saying, let's give to him it. And so dar is technically a transitive verb that requires an object, but this is being used in an intransitive statement because there's somebody who's receiving it indirectly. Demos le lo. Demos se lo. Demoselo. Demoselo. Muy bien. And that brings us to the end. Let's go ahead and do these command exercises. And actually, I'll just bring this over to the whiteboard. So what we have to do here, callarse ustedes. So first of all, with commands, you want to put an upside down exclamation mark at the beginning and a right side up one at the end. And since it's ustedes, we know that this AR right here, the A has to turn into an E, and it's ustedes, so it's going to be N. Cállense. And we have to put an accent mark above the E, or I mean above the A. Cállense. Capitalize this. Cállense. And then we don't need this anymore. Cállense. Be quiet, guys. Cállense. And remember, it's rude to say that. All right. So dar le lo. Dar le lo. Remember, this means give. Le refers to the indirect object, which would be like the person, him or her. So it would be this is an indirect object pronoun. And then lo refers to an object. So it's a direct object pronoun. We would say it in English. And so we say dar in the to form is simply da. Da. So we can get rid of that. Da. Now, what do we have to do with pronouns in a positive command? We simply attach them to the end, right? So now it's dale is attached. Now let's also attach lo. Dale lo. Ah, but le lo, you can't have le lo in Spanish. So what does the le have to turn into? Se. Dáselo. And let's not forget to put the accent mark above the A. Dáselo. Venir in the to form. Venir means to come. And so we're effectively saying, come here. Venir. And it's the to form. It's an irregular to command. And so we simply get rid of everything except for ven. And that means come in the to form. Ven. Come. Ven. A lot of times it's followed by aquí. Ven aquí or ven acá. Come here. Decir usted. Decir means to tell or to say. And we're commanding in the usted form. We're trying to be formal. Me is the indirect object pronoun referring to myself, me, and then lo is it. Tell me it, or in other words, tell it to me. Tell me, tell me. And so we put an upside down exclamation mark, We put a capital D. Decir usted. Remember, it follows the irregular form of the verb in the yo form. So we say digo, digo. So let's go ahead and put digo, digo, digo. But it's for usted. And so we have to put an A at the end. And it's only usted, so we don't have to put anything else. Diga. And then these have to be attached. Diga me lo. Dígamelo. And we have to put an accent mark here above the I. Dígamelo. Dígamelo. Jugar means to play. Nosotros refers to us. So let's play. Afuera. Afuera means outside. So upside down exclamation, capital J. Jugar is an AR verb. So it has to be in the nosotros form, jugamos. But since it's a command, the A turns into an E to say juguemos. Juguemos. So we turn this into an E. Juguemos. But there's a problem here. In Spanish, there's a spelling rule that everybody should be familiar with. A GI and a GE in Spanish will effectively make an H sound, an English H sound, huh. And so since it says huh right there, it would be juguemos, which is not what we're trying to say. In Spanish, you have to put a silent U there, juguemos. And the U is silent. It's only there to preserve the solid sound of the G when followed by an E or an I. So if you want to say ge or gi, like juguemos, juguemos, you have to put a silent U there. Juguemos afuera. And you don't have to keep nosotros here. You can get rid of that. Juguemos afuera. Let's play outside. Ser tú amable. Well, ser is irregular in the to form. It winds up being se. And we put an accent mark above it to distinguish it from a reflexive pronoun, which is also se. You can tell by the context, though, because if it's followed by amable, which means nice, amable, se amable, then you know that it means be nice. Se amable. Se amable. Se amable. All right, that's everything. Hopefully you learned how to use commands in Spanish. Gracias, hasta luego, hasta la próxima. Ciao. For now.